Hello, welcome to Bentley's Backwoods Bushcraft. This is Richard, and one of those things that I do enjoy doing is cooking. I very much enjoy it, but even more specifically, baking is also another thing that I enjoy. I will say I probably prefer cooking to baking. For me, I don't measure much at all when I cook. I don't do specific measurements. It's more like a pinch of this and a shake of that and stuff like that. I never do my stuff the same way twice for the most part. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. Stick the meat in there, shake it up, and you get that flavor. The next time it's going to be completely different. So with baking, sometimes, not always, but sometimes that jacks up what you're cooking, or you're baking rather. It jacks it up and it doesn't work right. And it's happened to me several times. So just going into this, I will tell you that I have measurements on my note page here, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be 100%. You know, if it says, for example, here we go, 1 teaspoon of yeast. All right, I can get a teaspoon of it, or I can just dip it in, boom. Oh, that's a teaspoon, boom, right? Like that, right? So, keep that in mind when you're watching me do baking. And you can notice it if you watch the cooking videos. I don't always show every single little process. There's a lot more editing that goes on with my cooking videos, and I don't necessarily like, oh, a spoon of this and you know, I don't really do that. But you could probably notice if you've watched many of my videos, I don't really do a lot of measuring. So anyway, I am going to conjure up some flour, and so I got flour, sugar, milk, eggs, butter, and yeast. Butter, milk, eggs, salt, sugar, yeast, and flour. Oh, I gotta go grab some salt real quick. Hold on one moment. Oh, look, salt. We don't eat a lot of salt anymore, or added salt to our foods. I used to, but I'd just take this thing and just dump it all over my food, right? But because I'm an American and I live in the United States, added salt isn't really necessary on pretty much anything at this point. So I'm not in the greatest of health. I don't complain about my health. I don't think I'm horrible.
We're actually in pretty good health, dear. We just had a doctor's appointment.
Well, I'm just saying that as a human being, yes, we have to have salt. We have to. Our body requires.
We have to have sodium.
Sodium. Fine, sodium. Regardless, I don't need to add that to anything at this point because I eat more than an adequate amount of processed foods, and there's plenty of the sodium in there anyway. It called for salt, and I had to go get it because I'm not used to having salt around anymore. Honestly, I'm just not used to having it in everything. So we are going to, and I don't know where I got this donut recipe. I'll be honest, I don't remember. I've had it for years and years. It sits up on the refrigerator. So basically we got 3 teaspoons of butter, a half.
I got it from Pinterest.
Okay, or is that, yeah, maybe Pinterest? I don't know. Half a cup of milk, an egg, half a teaspoon of salt, 3 tablespoons of sugar, which I always use more, a tablespoon of yeast. You add all that together, and then you cover the bowl for 5 to 10 minutes, and it'll start bubbling. If the yeast does its work, you'll start getting the little bubbles and stuff. And then with the wet material, you add 2 cups of flour. You set aside well mixed for 2 hours. What I do is I put it in a bowl. I put a cloth over top of it, and I set it in the refrigerator. I have found personally that it works better for me when I go to the process of rolling it and cutting it and all that kind of stuff, that putting it in the refrigerator rather than just leaving it sit out at room temperature, it works better in the refrigerator for me. It's up to you. Shape into ball. Grease bowl with oil, return dough, 2 bowl cover. Oh, there it is. Cover in the refrigerator overnight. There we go. So once you mix it and you let it sit aside for a couple hours, you put it into a bowl and cover it with a cloth and stick it in the refrigerator overnight. So this isn't something that's going to happen immediately. So if you want to do this now, you should have done it last night.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Basically, just flour a table or whatever. Stick your dough out after the overnight. Roll it and cut shapes if you want or whatever. Stick it in some hot grease. Buemo donuts. Alrighty, so here is the bowl that I'm going to mix the wet material in. There's my instructions. Here's a spoon. Here's all the ingredients that I'm going to be using. And I'm going to adjust the camera so that you can see this bowl. We'll mix all that up. We'll do everything. Stick it in the fridge. And tomorrow, hopefully, we'll have some donuts. Alright, that looks pretty decent to me. Alright, here we go. Again, measurements are... So we have 3 teaspoons of butter. That's probably good right there. So we'll add one more. Half a cup of milk.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. A half a cup of milk. One egg. A half a teaspoon of salt. There we go. Let's see, 3 tablespoons of sugar. All right. And a teaspoon of yeast. There we go. And from here we just mix. All right. Now we cover bowl for 5 to 10 minutes. Boop. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. All right, so that's 10 minutes. Let me see. Do we have it? I don't know. Is it? Looks like a mess. All right. We are going to take this and we are going to dump it into this pretty close to 2 cups, a little bit more, but it'll be all right, of flour. Eventually. it'll all seep in there. There we go. All right, I'm going to take that and thoroughly mix it. So this you don't need to hang around for. I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off, and when I get this thoroughly mixed, I'll get back with you. All right, well mixed. And we continue this, and there you go. There we go. All right. Now what we do is, again, I'm going to cover this up. I sit mine in the refrigerator. There we go. I set mine in the refrigerator just because for 2 hours. It's going to sit there for 2 hours. We'll take it out. We'll make a ball out of it, and then flour it up a little bit, make a ball out of it. I'm sorry, put a little grease in the oil in the pan, or in the bowl here, and set the ball in there. Then it goes in the refrigerator overnight. So right now we're going to let this sit for 2 hours in the refrigerator. Okay, so it's been 2 hours. I am going to take the mix that we have. I'm going to shape it into a ball and grease and a little bit of oil here the bowl that I'm going to put it in, and set it back in the bowl and stick it back in the refrigerator overnight. So let's get that going. And here we are. So is it, oh yeah, very dough-like. I need some flour. What I need to do is probably, no, I think I can do it right here. Get a little bit of flour here. There we go. So we're gonna pull this out. We're gonna try. There we go. I need a good amount of flour here. Pull this out. From the bowl. There we go. Dig down in there. There we go. And I'm going to form this into a nice little ball. A little bit more flour here. Good. All right. So we're going to get this rolled into a nice little ball, and I'm going to clean this container out because I want to use this for the storage overnight. And we'll get that done, and I'll get right back with you. All right. So that's done. Take a little bit of oil and just rub it around this bowl here. Make sure there's a good coating. There we go, that's good. And we're just going to take our dough, set right here, set it right in the middle. That's dirty. And cover that back up and stick that back in the refrigerator overnight. So tomorrow, all we have to do is get a dusting of flour out get the dough out, flatten it out, cut it to whatever shapes we want the donuts or whatever we're gonna do, and then we need to let it rest for 45 minutes, and then we can fry them up, and then we have donuts. So there is the process, and hopefully tomorrow we will conclude that and have some donuts.